Alrighty, here we go. Where are we? Alrighty, so I just did a review with this with Greg, so I'm gonna try to see how I can speak it about again for the recording here. But we got August 20th, 2025. It's a Wednesday, and we had a really great we really had a really great like lunch late morning. I say lunch into PM session. Like for all of this price action in here, this is the PM session. This is like the AM session. For all this price action in here, we had our read super clear. So that's what I'm gonna mainly go over. But to get into that, I'm just gonna leave off from where we were yesterday, just to tie us into where we were yesterday. Probably don't need to do this, but I'm just going to. Where are we here? Come on, show us your hand. Okay. So going into the week, we had this and this as our draws, which were met yesterday, and today was just a continuation of that, which was nice right there. So we're into now we're at OTE of this range right here. So we do have a daily we do have this leftover daily BISI kind of unicorn situation going on right here. So probably looking for a drawback up into here for today, tomorrow. Asia started, so this is the new daily candle. We'll see what happens there. But for now, let's go over what happened today. Okay. So those draws were met. Okay, now let's just go into today's price action. Sorry for wasting your time. So I didn't really know what today wanted to do, because we needed to have this daily candle. We needed to have today's daily candle close to give us daily SIBI up here. Yesterday we had a big expansion. And I guess you could say we were tapping the other side of the net NWOG for continuation lower, but where was the draw? Well, coming to this day, I didn't really had no idea what we were gonna do. I didn't had any idea, and what we ended up having was another big expansion. Um, so this was hit yesterday on NQ. Okay, so today ES hit that same spot and ran into there wasn't a daily for value gap EQ of this range for ES like there was for YM. I mean for NQ, but nonetheless we still hit EQ of this range as you can see right there. So the weakest link is obviously NQ. ES is in the middle, and then YM is just kind of the most bullish, I guess you could say, but I would say it's the most spazzing out up inside this premium of the freaking daily range still. Right up here. It's just spazzing out up here, consolidating. Because it was the weakest link to the upside when we were getting our higher time frame runs, meaning, where the heck is it? Here. Why is this thing all the way down here? Come on. Oh boy. All-time highs from December were ran already on ES and NQ, and YM has still yet to like hit them. So I think it was the weakest link to the upside on the bigger higher time frame. So now I think it's just like consolidating up here. It's the strongest asset to like it wants to hit these. While these ones can like show lower time frame, like more downside weakness. But look at this monthly like BPR that YM's using to target this. We've been watching that for a while now. Okay, let me get to the day's price action. Okay, so the day dumped. I came to the charts kind of in this time, like not right before the 950 macro. I had no idea like how far it was gonna keep on going. I actually took a long in here, which I think I showed on the screen. This is a stupid long. Right inside this fair value gap. It wasn't even like confirmed yet because we didn't even close above it. Got stopped out like I should. And then that was it for my day. I went back to the shop and I checked on my phone. Saw we ran out this low. Saw that we're inside this macro, the 1050, 11 and 10 macro. And what do? We have SMT here, SMT higher time frame wise. And then we run above, like this is your breaker right here. So this is just the 5-minute breaker extensions. But you could say you could have gotten on somewhere in here as your range and then, whatever. I like this one better. So I saw this placement after this all the signatures down here at this 1050 macro. I was like, okay, where are we aiming for? Where could we potentially aim for? That looks like the good bottom, local bottom to me. Well, if you go up into the 15-minute, we had jagged. There was nothing else down here that we need to reach for. We had even swung this previous day's low. There was no like equal lows that it was generating from maybe a PM continuation that I could see. There was nothing down here. But if you do look, the cleanest like draw I could see was we had smooth edges up here. Definitely like smooth in this area. Let's go to other assets and show the same business. Like look at ES, it's pretty damn smooth. I mean, super smooth right here. So I was like, okay, that's my draw. I'm aiming for up here. And I'm gonna just see if I can get on board this move. Now, what happens during the next macro? We get a retracement into this old like daily for value gap. Let me show on the 5-minute. 5-minute was beautiful. Okay, so there's like this was like the 12 o'clock macro, the retracement, kind of locking in price right here. It's balanced in my mind, which is like the 5-minute breaker. Here's the projections. And what do we leave in its wake? We'll leave this 5-minute BPR. Now, inside of this candle, as soon as we shoot up here, I'm like, wow. I mean, look at how these bodies, let me take this off the chart for a second. Look at how these bodies, like this old daily for Vega, look how well it's respecting them. It's beautiful price action. And now look at this. Boom, boom. I was like, dang. To me, um, it's go time. I can either wait for this candle to close to get a tag into it, or I can just like try to get in on a lower time frame in here in case this thing doesn't want to tag it, which as you can see during this price, like it didn't tag it. And depending on if we tagged it or not, it was gonna like determine the rest of my PM session and how things could go. So the 5-minute BPR is right here. I got in right here. Wait, I didn't even take. I did take a picture of it. Anyways, my I just marketed right here. What price I've been doing? Boom. This is a very fast move. Now this is still 12:30, so we're in the middle of lunch still. Right, and now retracement down. I had stops moved to break even, and so what I wanted to see was this. Like since lunch could, this 5-minute BPR was still open, so I was still like, um, I still had that in my mind that we could tag into it and continue. And if that was the case, I would allow my stop even my break even to get triggered, and then I wait for a reaction and then get like a lower time frame, like trade off of it or just enter it if we displaced it like after tagging it, which ended up happening over here, but we'll talk about in a minute. So stops to break even, still didn't tag me out. 1 o'clock comes. Before 1:30, what's happening? We're engineering sell side. This above this like 5-minute BPR, and then 1:30 comes, and I'm expecting price to Judas into all this and then continue, which would be a beautiful ad, and then continue targeting up, targeting up. But what ends up happening is 1:30 launches up, runs lunch highs with SMT, and at this point, I didn't like the fact that we did the Judas up before coming down. I would look to see a Judas down for continuation up to our buy side. So the fact that we did this, left SMT here, I was like, let me just get out here. And then let's see how we trade back into here. And I can always get back in, or who knows, maybe I'm wrong and this thing wants to roll over. But moral of the story is I'm doing all this on my phone, in the shop, running back to the house, teaching them now reading. And so I literally just, I'm doing also on my phone. So um, 2 o'clock macro comes in, rolls underneath, 1:30 open, takes sweeps out the sell side. We didn't touch the 5-minute BPR. On my phone, I just marketed in right here. And then I checked and I was like, oh, we didn't actually touch it. Crap. So as soon as we got up, I moved my stop to break even. And then I just let it like take me out. And then we tagged into it. But I didn't see this or this because I'm like in the shop checking my phone. I didn't really catch this until we were up a little bit. And I was like, oh, look at that. It gave the perfect entry. Man. But anyways, if I had more like focus time in front of the computer, definitely I'd be getting in this area as well. Which was the initial idea. It was one contract because if we roll lower, I'll add to it. But just the fact that it played out beautifully is really nice to see. So we hit the 5-minute VPR, it creates this pattern in here. After this like manipulation macro, which takes up the sell side, runs to our like VPR, and then all underneath 130 opening price. Then what happens during the 3 o'clock macro? We run into 130 open as like the final Judas, like offering its like last buyers of smart money, I guess you could say. And then boom, off to the races. And then this is all like final macro stuff. Here's the actual final macro in here, and price can't get its body above today's AM first presented fair value gap, which is from here. But nonetheless, I mean, midnight open. This was gonna be this would be a target if we weren't gonna get up here. If I still had a position or I was in the move. So that's that. But I mean, say you got in somewhere. I mean, you can, and so basically, what is this? This 3 o'clock macro. Not only is it like a tag back into 130 opening price, but you see this unicorn right here, because we also had this was like a lunch lows SMT. This run in here, this is beautiful. Getting into here is beautiful. So what is this also on the 5-minute? It's this unicorn on the 1-minute and on the 5-minute as well right here. The lunch macro, I mean the 3 o'clock macro comes in into this fair value gap breaker, off to the races, and 2 standard deviations are smagged the high of the day. I mean, just beautiful price action across the board. We were, and so basically what makes this all clear, what makes this all possible, knowing that that swings are Judas's and all this stuff, is based on our strong bias. Bum ba dum. The draw liquidity makes everything possible. The fact that this is my draw and I'm very clear on it, because there's nothing else lower, and I see displacement on macros, lower time frames, I'm able to be just really accurate about like what is a retracement Judas, and then continuation. This was beautiful price action. And that's it for today. Now, what I want to say is on the 5-minute basis, this is like a reminder of a trade that I took a month ago or something. For getting in early in the AM session and just continuing into the PM is the same type of situation. We had a drop here, and now here is our 5-minute. This is basically saying like getting in here, and if we come back to here, I'll add the position. Stops are under here, of course, just right under here. There's no need for stops to go under here. But anyways, it's the same type of situation. Later in the PM session, we tag into it, giving them like another entry, and then boom. And if I can find an example of that trade, I just want to show it really quick. It was in this week, I believe, and it was this trade right here. So this is on the 5-minute basis. Basically, this was that first within for Vega from the AM. So this is the 5-minute for Vega that I'm talking about. And what happens is we retrace into it during lunch, like AM expansion, retracing during lunch tag. I got in early right here, but anyways, this was really where I wanted to get in right here, which boom hits him perfectly. And then PM session continuation launch, but then we have a retracement during 2 o'clock underneath the opening price, the PM session opening price where you add into, which was this right here. I'll show you in the 1 minute. That's this type of situation right here, because it runs up, but then it retraces deeply back into adding underneath this and taking out the sell side, and then that's the macro Judas. So then you can assume after this that we take it and displace that. Now we can continue upwards, and that is what this is here and showing right there. So it reminded me of that type of trade where a run happens. Oh, come on. Run happens early, but it leaves in its wake like an imbalance that's like if we run it, that's like a high probability spot to like enter in if we come back to it. And during lunch we retrace back into it to give you that if you weren't in the move already to give you, it would be a pyramid, but if you weren't into it already, it gives you that entrance into the same area, and then using like the logic of time based on if it's during lunch or PM session, use all that logic for the continuation order flow reading to pick it up to our draw. Beautiful. Where is this thing?